Uh, yeah. So as it was discussed in our last meeting that we wanted to have a front end which was able to connect all the tables and we don't have to separately enter all the data in the RedCap. And also, since RedCap lacks the relational concept of database, um, I thought maybe trying with an MS Access would be a solution because as we know that MS Access uh, has a capability of establishing relational databases as well as it can give you a good front end, not as good as what RedCap has, but I think if you weigh the pros and cons, I think MS Access would be able to will be a better solution. So let's see this. I've created an MS Access project here. So this is this CRI project. I would click on this project here. As soon as I click on this project, it takes me to the dashboard which I've created. Now, if you look at this dashboard, there are various buttons on this dashboard, and each button is capable of performing some functions. So, all these buttons that we see here, they are just a button which takes us to the form. Like hours recording will take us to a hours recording form, project will take us to the project form, so on and so forth. And once you enter into that form, you can enter data for one person or one ID in that form and save it, and that gets recorded in the table. So as you see on the left, there are tables here, there are queries that I'll come to that later, there are these forms. So in order for us not to just look at where the form is and stuff like that, on the left I've created all this on this button on the dashboard. um, so let's see what all buttons we have here. So these are recording the hours. This is project. That to enter all the project detail. This is for the billing details, which goes into UI later. Services that we need to enter all the services provided by the CRI. Milestone, that is milestone related to each project, needs to be entered here. Employee details about each employee should be entered here. So like see for example, let's go to recording hours. So when I click here, it takes us to the recording hours form, and there is a recording ID which is auto generated, so no need to worry, it is unique. And that's good, so that since it is auto generated, there is no chance of any duplication in that. So suppose employee wants to record an hours he worked on the project, so I will enter say 3 hours. Then I do select the service ID, like what kind of service did I do, like maybe 4 5 6. Instead of having a service ID, I can also like replace it by service name if you would like. So say for example, it's service ID 5, and he worked for the project. Which project did he work for? So 7. So why are there 7 projects on this drop down list? Because there are 7 projects in my project table. So there are 7. If tomorrow I add more and more projects, this will automatically populate more and more numbers over here. So say for example, say it worked on project 3, and now I need to enter the date. So I enter today's date and then net ID of the employee who is entering it, and all these net ID would appear here based on what was entered in the employee table. So it is pulling out from that employee table all these net IDs. So I've selected this. We can also select a name if you want, just changing from net ID to name, that will work. So even this service ID are all the services that I have inputted 10 services in the service table. um, and so there are 10 here. If you want to have a look at the service table at the back end, you could quickly look here. See, there are 10 services which I've inputted. If I put another service, say one more service, say 11th, which is service 11. uh, so there is a type, service type. You can select set fee or hourly, say hourly, and the rate is say $90. And yeah, so I click save here. So yeah, this got saved. So if you would like to see, I am going back to this recording ID. So if you see this service here, no, okay, this page needs to be refreshed. Okay, let me complete this one. So there were just 10 initially over here. So let me save this record. This will save the record, saved successfully. It gives you the message. Now if you want to enter one more, so enter new record. Say I'm entering 3 hours. Now let's see at the service. Okay. Um, I think it didn't get saved properly, but as and when you save that, this should appear here. So let me see. Let me reopen this. Sorry. Record hours, 2 hours. Service, I see. I could see 11 service as well. I think I just had to restart the program. So yeah, I'll select this service ID 11, which I just entered. Project, fifth project, recording date, so on and so forth. The person is recording. Saved successfully. If you want to enter new record again, go ahead. Or if you want to go back to the dashboard, there is a button here which takes you back to the dashboard. You can also go to the dashboard from here. It is already open. So any which ways, whatever you like. Or you can also exit this tab if you want. So similarly, there are all these tabs here. Uh, Milestones. Say for example, if you want to enter employee, just enter his employee ID, name, role, salary. Role also we can do a drop down if you want, and then save the record. I'll go back to the dashboard. Projects, as and when the projects come in, we need to enter this data, and then go back to the dashboard, save it, and go back to the dashboard. Say if you want to enter a milestone, say this is auto generated milestone ID, no need to worry about that. You want to enter a milestone for say project 4, and say the milestone description is data collection, and milestone plan date, I'll just adjust those labels later, it should be date here, is today, and save the record. Now this record has been saved. I haven't created the code to prompt as we had seen in the previous hours recording tab, but yeah, I can have a prompt here which says the record has been saved successfully. So this was saved successfully, I'm definitely sure. Now I'm going back to the dashboard. Yeah, so these were all these details. So the best part about this thing is all are interconnected. If you enter more and more services, all that would appear here in the records hours recording table, the column that we have to mention which service are we charging for the employee, as in when you enter new employee, that will come up here when we have to enter the employee ID over here. So since all this is connected, and we were able to achieve the relational concept in this. Now let's come back here. These are all the buttons which takes to various queries or various forms. So on this blank space, we can have multiple buttons which can take us to various reports. Like if you want a report, say, I want to look at how many projects is particular employee working on. So it can just, you click on that button, it will prompt you on entering the employee name or the employee ID, and then you can see all the projects that he's working on, so on and so forth. Like how many projects you want, you can see that. So there is one example here which tells, I want a milestone for just a particular project. I'm just interested in knowing what are the milestones for project 3. So I clicked here. It is asking me to enter the project ID. So I entered project ID 3 and then okay. So yeah, this gave me all the milestones that are there, like ID, description, plan date, actual date for this project ID 3. So I'll just close this. Similarly, this milestone by project, suppose if Neil sometime wants to see how many total projects are we working on today, so he can create this milestone by project, and he will get a report. So this is a report, this tells you for project 2 these are the milestones, for project 3 these are the milestones, project 4 these are the milestones. So I've grouped by project ID for this report. So you can create multiple reports. This Access gives very good reports you want. It can also, suppose the query that we have here, which asks you to enter the project ID. We can also create a report which tells me how many new projects came in from this date to that date. So we can have that prompt as well. So as and when, whatever is required, we can keep on adding that. So yeah, just let me know, what do you think about this application? Do you think that would be able to serve the purpose and is flexible and good for everyone to use? Then I can, just maybe sometime visit and sit with Neil and Mark and just ask them on any more updates they want on this project and create it for them. So yeah, thank you very much. Just let me know what do you think about that.